Bohemia. The conditions here, it's about 5 p.m. local time. The pitch is very greasy, but the surface is quite satisfactory to Frank Farina and his team. It's a cold evening here, and there is a fairly sparse crowd at this stage of the match, but there are many making their way into the stadium. Well, so many changes forced upon Frank Farina's side. Many unfamiliar faces too with the Czech Republic team. They also have had their problems in fielding their full-strength team with injury to Patrick Berger, Vladimir Smitsa, the Liverpool pair. That's the number 11 who's brought into the squad at late notice, Thomas Rosicki. 6 players from Czech Republic that are based in the Czech Republic, rather, in the side. 5 overseas-based players. The Australian squad looking to build on that performance against Hungary 5 weeks ago. Well, for Australia, of the 6 changes that beat Hungary in that match, 4 of them are in defence tonight. Željko Kalac, Tony Popovic and Sean Murphy and Jason Van Blurk, all given their chance to stake a claim for a regular place in Frank Farina's side. The goalkeeper for the Czech Republic tonight is Jaromír Blašek. He makes his international debut. The referee is from Slovakia. Vladimir Hrinak is in charge of the game, and Frank Farina has some questions about the depth of his squad. Tonight's the night that he'll have some answers. Never has an Australian team been distributed among so many high-profile clubs in Europe, and the workload that comes with that has caused a massive readjustment to the side that beat Hungary. One stable portion of the team, if you like, is the Paul Ocon and Josip Skoko combination in central midfield. Stan Lazaridis has come into the Australian side on the left-hand side of the attack, just trying to provide crosses for Mark Viduka and Paul Agostino, the 2 central strikers for Australia today. Viduka, Skoko combining beautifully early on as the ball runs through to the goalkeeper. It's a back 3 for the Czech Republic, with Petr Gabriel, Milan Fukul and also Karel Rada. It's hard to miss the main man in the Czech Republic side. Jan Kola is an absolute giant in attack, around 6'7" as Korica clatters into the defender Martin Cicek there. Jan Kola has scored 11 goals in 11 international games, so without a doubt he is the danger man for the Australian defence. Frank Farina did say that he's not making any special arrangements for the big Czech Republic striker. Either Sean Murphy or Tony Popovic will pick him up. Depending on who is the closer defender. Well, the stadium here, the Stinadlech Stadium, holds around 18,000 fans when it's filled to capacity. There is Kola. And another free kick. This time it's against Sean Murphy. Playing his 4th game for Australia tonight. Really a late start to his international career. Murphy goes into the side of Kola there. Željko Kalac back in the thick of things again and touched on. Oh, good save by Kalac. Well, Kalac himself is 6'7" as well, and he had to use every inch of his giant frame to reach that one. It was flicked on, not by the big man Kola, but Kalac was very much on his toes in the opening stages of the game, and a lively start to the home side. Here comes Kalac again, makes that one look easy, and releases the ball quickly as well. And you hear the encouragement from the Australian bench there. Come on, Spider. Željko Kalac's nickname. 3 minutes into the match. Already Kalac called into action. talking to Frank Farina earlier today. He did tell me that's the main aspect of his team tonight that he's looking for, is to really concentrate on the organisation when the team hasn't got the ball, despite the fact there's 4 changes and there's 5-man defence. He's still hoping that the guidelines that he's laid down already will be followed by the new players coming into the team. Lazaridis joining in and winning the throw-in. Corica waiting on the edge of the box. Call came from the captain, Paul Ocon, to leave it. Well, he's firmly established now as Australia's captain, Paul Ocon. That's a long throw. Viduka, good touch on. Well, the team hasn't been together too long. They haven't had a lot of time to really work on set pieces. But that was one that worked. Not too scientific about it. A long throw, a flick on at the near post, and a good moment for Australia as Popovic comes away with the ball, and Kevin Muscat saying that that was not a foul. A yellow card to Kevin Muscat in the early stages of the game, and that is not a good sign for him. He'll really have to watch himself for the rest of the match now. But perhaps a sign of the pressure that this Australian defence is under in the opening stages. Thomas Wasitsky was the player brought down. And number 4 over the ball is Pavel Nedved, the most highly regarded player in the Czech Republic. The Lazio midfielder is the likely man to take this one. Here is Nedved curling it over the bar. That's a relief for the Australian side. Pavel Nedved, who's playing against his former teammate in Paul Ocon in midfield tonight. Australia making ground down the right-hand side now with Agostino. Goes back to Corica. Here is Ocon. Turning away, Ocon tried to find Lazaridis, who, instead of pulling out wide, headed towards the centre of the goal, trying to get in behind the defence. Certainly Stan Lazaridis is a major weapon for Australia down that left-hand side. Well, Frank Farina, in his blueprint for success, has said that games in Europe are an absolute must in his mind for World Cup preparation, but he's already learnt that getting your best team on the park is probably the most difficult part of that. The familiar long hair of Karol Poborski. There's football at Benfica these days. Viduka, little touch back. It was a great ball back for Viduka. He got the ball back as well. I'm sure he wouldn't have minded the advantage being played there by the Slovakian referee. Over the ball. Great to see him back in Australian colours. He hasn't played for the Socceroos since back in 1998 when the Australian team drew 0-0 in the USA. It's another... I thought it was a free kick for a moment there, but it's a throw into the Czech Republic. Certainly the free kick count in the opening 7 minutes or so has been heavily weighted in favour of the home side. That ball's crossed the sideline. Jason Van Blurk. Viduka touches it off. Agostino trying to turn. Van Blurk back to Ocon. Not too much pressure on Ocon there. He's given the ball away. And the Czech Republic break in space down the left-hand side. 2 defenders back. Muscat is there. And that's very well played by Kevin Muscat to avert the danger of Martin Cicek. Cicek plays for 1860 Munich. He's a teammate of an Australian who's not on show tonight, Ned Zelic. He and Frank Farina still yet to patch up their differences. The likelihood is that Zelic will not play for Australia again. As Nedved takes the corner. The ball that's clearly outside the legal corner area. And it's a good header and a good goal. Well, Milan Fukal, the sweeper of the Czech Republic side, has put their team in the lead. Perhaps all of the attention going to Jan Koller, the big striker, but it's one of the big defenders who's come forward. Great leap there, and that is a super header from a player playing just his 4th international match, Milan Fukal. Well, they certainly are a big team, the Czech Republic. A lot of height and a lot of strength in the air, as we saw very capably demonstrated there by Milan Fukal. Well, it was certainly a game that Australia needed some time to settle into with the 6 changes to their team. The goal from the set piece won't please Frank Farina, I'm sure. Certainly over the years, Australia have prided themselves on the quality of their defending. Sharpen the tackle. Very good bit of work from him. Lazaridis coming inside. Here's Skoko. More space down the right-hand side now for Kevin Muscat. Pass was on for Corica. And that's Jan Koller, the big striker. And Viduka looking for a foul there. Didn't get it, but he still retained possession. Not quite sure where the ball is at the moment, but he kept it. Mark Viduka, determination really paying off for him there. Goalkeeper's coming out a long way. Castillo was prepared to hang around and loiter just to see if there were any crumbs for him. This time it's the number 14 for Australia, Steve Corica, who's the guilty man. Well, certainly with the height in this Czech Republic side, any set pieces around that part of the attacking third for the Czech Republic is a dangerous situation indeed. Australian defence pushed right out almost to the level of the free kick on the edge of the area. Lazaridis. Well, what a start to Jan Koller's international career. He only made his debut last year. He's 27 years old today, in fact. It's his birthday today. Made his debut last year and he scored 11 from 11 games. So it's quite an extraordinary rise to fame for Jan Koller. He's the leading goal scorer in Europe so far this season with 33 goals for Anderlecht. Also celebrating a birthday today is his teammate Karol Poborski, who's 28 years of age. Free down the right-hand side with the ball right now. Popovic challenging, Ocon there as well. Bit of hesitation. Skoko tidying up, Van Vlerk just trying to slow things down, but Nedved very eager to win the ball back. It's a very hungry looking Czech Republic side, it has to be said, as we're into the 14th minute of the match now. Just never quite sure how some teams are going to approach a friendly international. And the message is very loud and clear from this Czech Republic side. They're here to win and regain their winning streak after losing to the Republic of Ireland in their last outing. Going down by 3-2 a month ago. Other internationals this year for them. They beat Mexico 2-1 and drew 2-2 with Hong Kong in a tournament in January. Australia looking to get back into this game here. And then that's forward to Kohler, who's got a lot of room as the Australian defence backs off. Czech Republic racing down the left now with Rosicki. Good shot and well held by Kalats. Well, Thomas Rosicki had a man going outside him as a decoy. For the far post, Kalats down well to his left. Can't get to that ball. There was a slight injury scare about Mark Paduka. He left training early yesterday and put ice immediately on a hamstring that was causing him some problems. There's never any doubt that he would start the game though. And Blurk did well to win the ball. Here's Ocon. You can see by the amount of slide tackles going in that the surface is very slippery indeed on top. Australia still really yet to settle into the game. Van Blurk. Jason Van Blurk along with Sean Murphy really enjoying return to international action after many years in the wilderness. Scocco. Foul. Australian bench, Frank Farina leaning on the right hand side of the bench there. You can see they're all hunched up in the shoulders, just how cool it is in Teplice. It's a free kick that won't be reached by Agostino, and it's a goal kick. Well, real injury problems for Australia coming into this game. Mark Bosnich had ankle problems after his game against Bradford on the weekend for Manchester United. Harry Kewell has fatigue, 7 games in the last 22 days. Farina took control of the situation there and made the decision to rest him from this international. Craig Moore, Tony Vidmar, the 2 Rangers players, both injured. Steve Labert, injured last week, playing for the Olyroos against Slovakia in a friendly. Ocon coming deep to get the ball. Popovic going outside him. It's a nice play by the 19-year-old Thomas Rosicki. Certainly the Czech Republic looked very quick indeed. Going around Kalats there. Danger for Australia. Still the Czech Republic in possession. Here's Kalats gathering it now. But once again, the Czech Republic really causing some problems for this Australian defence. This time it was the number 10, Pavel Verbier. Got a couple of goes at the cross. Kohler coming in at the near post. Kalats waiting for it. Again, using the full reach that he has. Martin Czech, who's coming to the side tonight on the left-hand side of midfield in place of Patrick Berger, the Liverpool player, who's not injured, but he will be suspended for the Czech Republic's first 2 games at Euro 2000. So the coach, Josef Hovanec, has decided to take this opportunity to experiment with the player who could replace him. In fact, it would almost be questionable about whether Berger would go to Euro 2000. So in the first 2 games, something that Hovanec will have to decide at a later date. Certainly, Berger is a vital player within the Czech Republic side. 5 goals in the Euro 2000 qualifiers for him. Muscat got a touch on the ball and forced to concede the corner there by a lot of pressure coming in from Martin Czech. Crowd starting to warm to the task of the home side. Czech goalkeeper Jaromír Blašek hasn't had too much to do so far. Nedvěd taking the corner. Kalatz punches. And Lazaridis is in some space. Taking on his man, Lazaridis. Well, no foul, it'll be an Australian throw. Skoko. Australia hungry when they go forward. Viduka wasn't really expecting it. Australia still trying to find their rhythm when they go forward. Ocon does well to win the ball, and free is Lazaridis down the left. Viduka, Skoko. And just for a moment, a hint of promise in an Australian attack. I'm sure Murphy just complaining to the referee. Well, there's some Australian fans in the crowd here. There are a number of Aussies working in Europe who contacted Soccer Australia requesting tickets to the game. They're coming from Belgium, from Germany, from France and from England. A little band of Aussie fans to come and watch the game, which is some support for Frank Farina and the boys there. In a part of the world where there can't be too many local Australians living. There's also a contingent of the Belgian club, Club Bruges, come down to watch this game apparently, with their big fans of Paul Ocon and Frank Farina, former players of Club Bruges of course. Frank Farina and Ocon were recently voted the 6th and 4th most popular Bruges players ever. So that's why there's some fans come down from Belgium to see this match. Touched on. Viduka trying to use his body. Muscat, Ocon. Murphy trying to bring Corica into the game. That's a nice turn from Corica. Skoko touching it on. Still Australia just not quite looking fluid just yet. Lazaridis trying to get an early ball in. Corica coming in, trying to add some weight to the attack. And that's well played by Muscat to intercept. Ocon inside. Skoko, really Australia starting to liven up a bit. Czech Republic steal the ball. Kohler comes forward through the centre. Somewhat of a battering ram approach from the big man. That is a tremendous international strike rate in anyone's language. 11 from 11. Australia now just settling down a little bit more into the game, certainly having more of the ball, their best period of the game for that. We're into the 24th minute if you've just joined us. The Czech Republic leading by a goal to nil. A header in the 10th minute from Milan Fukal from a corner. Soccer Australia has also been inundated with requests from at least a dozen European clubs who want to come and watch the game, to watch many of the Australian players play. Among those clubs, Bayern Munich, Manchester United and Watford. And your guess is as good as mine, just on which players they would be hoping to look at. There's only one Australian-based player in the entire squad, and that's Luke Castley of the Northern Spirit. Rosicki. Poborski takes the throw quickly. Playing in Benfica these days, Karel Poborski. He himself did have a spell at Manchester United. Very short one. He continues on here. He's a very dangerous player. That's a good cross in. And Muscat was watching it all the way. Well, Poborski showing his quality there. Not a lot of room to get in a cross. Karel Poborski rarely lasts 90 minutes of international football today, but he can do some damage. And now, for sure, as Nedved takes the corner, Kalats into his own goal to watch it go over the bar. Pavel Nedved, who's been in absolutely brilliant form for Lazio this season. His debut for the Czech Republic back in 1994 against the Republic of Ireland. Here's Corica down the right-hand side. Time to turn and face two defenders, and he gets the throw. Steve Corica now playing in Japan with Eddie Thompson's club, Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Viduka keeps it in. Muscat. Ball goes back to Ocon. It's a deep cross. The goalkeeper comes for it. That's a good solid take from Jaromir Blasek. Lazaridis wins the ball back and wins the throw as well. Well, certainly Australia getting more and more possession as the half goes on. Skoko has been very lively. Here's Ocon. Waiting for Muscat to join in. Back to Ocon. Muscat continues to run forward. Viduka comes and gets the ball. Nice possession from Australia. Ocon always available. Everything going through him at this stage. Corica couldn't get to the ball first. Pressure coming in from Skoko there on the number 7, Yuri Nemets. Skoko complaining that he didn't feel that his challenge was worthy of a free kick. Rosicki forward, touched on. Kalats almost out of position, over by Kohler, over the bar. Well, a fairly innocuous ball into the area caused Australia some real pain there. They almost paid the severest of price. Nedved touched it on. Popovic was beaten. Kalatz came. He was beaten to the ball as well by Kola. Beaten in the air by Rosicki. Here's Viduka now. Well, he brings the ball down beautifully there. Two players onto him very quickly. Viduka taking him on into the area. Brilliant run from Viduka. Still going. Mark Viduka. Oh, what a goal that would have been. Well, he decided to go it alone. Although the whole time he had his head up just looking for other options. But he just got rid of two defenders very easily. Looked up. Saw there wasn't anything really on, and he just kept on going. Viduka dummied the goalkeeper, and in the end that was a very good save by Blaszek. Well, if there are any of the big clubs from Europe like the Bayern Munichs or the Manchester Uniteds here looking at Mark Viduka, that one run alone will tell you the talent that he has. That was brilliant. He really is playing with immense confidence these days, Mark Viduka. He scored 27 goals this season. And if anything's likely to give a striker confidence, it's finding the back of the net on a regular basis. And he's certainly doing that up in Scotland. There is talk that he'll be leaving Celtic at the end of the season. And Kevin Muscat is being laid down the law by the Slovakian referee, Mr. Hrinak. Just over half an hour gone. Still Australia trailing by a goal to nil as Van Berk clears his line. Lazaridis inside to Ocon. Little header on from him to Skoko. Good synergy again between those two players. Viduka this time offside. Well, he's likely to be the player of the year in Scotland this year, according to those who know. He was twice player of the year when he was in Australia. Ocon says, I'll take over. Lazaridis. Skoko continued forward. Corica involved now. Here is Lazaridis. Viduka not really expecting the ball there. Van Berk forward now. Well, it's not the first time the ball has just bounced over one of the Australians' feet. Just wonder if there are some divots on the pitch. Viduka going forward. Well, two challenges there. Would have been worthy of a foul by the look of things. Neither of them given. Despite appeals from the Australian players. Skoko winning the ball as well. Staying down. Now he slowly gets up. Involved again. Just a little bit scrappy at the moment. If ever there's a man on the park to calm things down and just steady things up, it's Paul Ocon, and he brings Muscat into the game. Foul there on Paul Ocon by Rosicki. Thomas Rosicki, one of several players based at Sparta Prague, 4 in fact in this Czech Republic team, and for the well-known club from Prague. It's an easy one for the goalkeeper. Free kick to the Czech Republic, foul by Paul Agostino. Well, it's a well-known statistic that the Czech Republic won 10 out of 10 of their qualifying matches for Euro 2000. Never before has that achievement been done, hence their ranking of #2 in the world and the top European club. Take another look at an earlier incident in the game, and that was the goal, in fact, by Milan Fukal. Just to give you an idea of the competition in the Czech Republic's group in those qualifiers, there was Bosnia-Herzegovina, Lithuania, Estonia, the Faroe Islands, and then only really Scotland of any kind of note at all in terms of opposition. Can't reach the ball, but Van Vleut can, helping it on down the line. Lazaridis touching it on to Viduka, back to Lazaridis. Kola, picked off by Murphy. Lazaridis brought into the game again, surging forward through the centre this time. Lazaridis running into really heavy traffic there. The ball is loose. It's gone back to the goalkeeper. It's bouncing just a little bit awkwardly, but he showed good technique, the goalkeeper there, just to play the first time pass away. Australia win the ball back quickly again. Ocon is fouled once again. This time it's his former buddy, Pavel Nedved. Limping pretty heavily there is Petar Gabriel. He's going off for some treatment. Meanwhile, Australia have taken the free kick. Viduka, very much looking the part, still Viduka. Agostino came for this one. As you can see there, the Australian substitutes warming up on the bench tonight for the Socceroos. Craig Foster, Richard Johnson, Luke Casserly. Clayton Zane has joined the squad from Holland, where the Olympic team was playing. As the throw comes in from Ocon. And Steve Mortone, who these days is playing his football at Gillingham in the English second division, has been added to the squad as the second goalkeeper. For the last 15 or 20 minutes or so, Australia have had slightly the better of this game. To really caused the Czech goalkeeper to make a save, Jaromír Blašek. And already the Czechs are forced to make a substitution, and it's the number 17, Petr Vlček, who's coming on in place of the player who was injured a moment ago, Petar Gabriel.
39. minuta utkání. Z dresu České republiky odstupuje z hrací bloky zraněný číslo 2 Petr Gabriel. S číslem 17 nastupuje Petr Vlček. 39 minute, the player of Czech Republic, number 2, Petr Gabriel, and the substitute of Czech, Number 17, Teplice,
Kevin Muscat will take the throw in for Australia. About 6.5 minutes to go before the half-time break. Socceroos still trailing by a goal to nil. Never has Australia beaten the Czech Republic or the Czechoslovakian team, of course, which they were known as for so many years. In fact, Australia drew 0-0 with the other half of the old Czechoslovakia, the Slovakian team in Chile, earlier on this year. It was only 6 weeks ago. Azarides now just opening things up. The whistle's gone. Again, it's a free kick to the Czech Republic. Coach of the Czech Republic is Josip Hovanec, who himself was a fine player. Very much from the Sparta school of short passing. He spent 8 seasons with Sparta Prague and also spent some time in Holland with PSV Eindhoven as well. His time in the Dutch First Division has honed his tactical know-how. Kallat's disappointed with the kick there. Murphy just opening the game up for Australia. Kohler down with a hit to the back of the head. Trainer called onto the pitch immediately. The ball being played out. Well, in 1996, when the Czech Republic were so impressive and quite surprising, really, for their performance in Euro 96. They made the final. They were beaten 2-1 by Germany. The team was almost entirely based in Prague, but it's not the case anymore. Kohler will continue without a doubt. Australia have just under 4 minutes to go if they're to find a reply to the early Czech Republic goal before half-time. In Euro 2000, the Czech Republic have drawn Holland, France and Denmark in their group. So that's a host of the tournament, the current world champions, and a former winner as well. So no surprise that they're calling that particular group a group of death. Zizek with the throw. It's another throw for the home side. Zizek forced to go back. In fact, it is a free kick. And I'm not sure what the free kick count is in this first half. I haven't been keeping a tally myself, but certainly it would be pretty one-sided, I'd say. It's the goal scorer. Fukal goes long. Easy for Popovic. Isn't prepared to take any chances and go back to the goalkeeper. Corica wins the throw. Murphy under real pressure from Kohler. Sean Murphy's 29 years of age now. He was suspended on the weekend for his club Sheffield United, so he comes into this game extremely fresh. Thought he'd never play for Australia after representing the Olyroos in Barcelona in 1992. Didn't make his international debut, his full Socceroo debut, until earlier this year in the Tour of Chile. He and Tony Popovic, the two central defenders for the Socceroos. They have played together before, only once though, back in 1992 in Barcelona, when Murphy and Popovic were the two central defenders in the quarter-final against Sweden. Czech Republic forward here now, and it was Murphy's partner Popovic who came across to give away the corner. Well, once again, Nedved has the ball placed right outside the little quarter circle there. Last time he did this, the Czech Republic scored a goal. Nedved waiting now. A signal with the head. Well, better defending this time, says Željko Kalac, who applauds the men in front of him. A lot of players to come through, and the danger man was there again. Foucault. A lot of players to come through for Kalac if he wants to come off his line and grab those. There's a host of big friendlies going on all around Europe this evening. As I mentioned, this is an early kickoff in the Czech Republic, 5 p.m. local time, but also happening this evening. Holland are playing Belgium, France take on Scotland. Italy and Spain do battle, as do Germany and Croatia. Czech is bundled away by Muscat. That's a mistake by Korica. Has let Czech into the area. Well, that's good tackling by Australia. 3 players around the ball. Looking like a potential penalty incident. As Lazaridis has Skoko outside him, and he came inside. Now it's the Czech Republic on the counter-attack with Karol Poborský. Poborský taking on Van Blurk. Australia's defence still trying to reshuffle. Loose ball here. Here's Čech across. Kola, look at this. Kalat's great save. It's a loose ball. It's gone over the bar. Well, it looked a certain goal, and it's Pavel Nedved, of all players. Well, it all started with the mistake in midfield by Stan Lazaridis when the Socceroos really had numbers forward. Van Blurk managed to just get a challenge in, but they were always unconvincing in defence. Australia was laid off to Čech. His miss hit straight to Kola. Kalac was already down on the ground by the time he made that save. And then Nedved put it well over the bar. Well, that really would have caused Australia problems if they'd gone in at half-time down by 2-0. Kola stayed on his feet. Kalac was totally off his. Nedved missed as the half-time whistle goes here in Teplice. Well, a good first half of football, really. Australia coming more and more into the game after conceding the early goal in the 10th minute by Foucault. The highlight for the Socceroos, the mazy run by Martin Viduka around the right-hand side of the Czech Republic defence. He beat everybody and almost beat the goalkeeper with what would have been a terrific goal. It wasn't to be, and at the other end, as you just saw, the Czech Republic had their chance for a second goal as well. But at half-time, the score remains Czech Republic 1, Australia 0.
On Inside.
I wanted to know.
Clean Gene Babies.
Increasingly, we won't be seeking to actually treat, we'll be seeking to screen and abort.
If you've got a defective gene, well, why not just introduce the good version of that gene?
If there is a repetition anywhere, we know that we will terminate.
Good genes, good people, bad people.
Inside Thursday.
Food lovers, mix it up and add some spice to your Friday night. From Love and Food. to love and spice at 8:30, Whoopi Cherie.
Bon, moi je suis travestie, c'est spécial. Bon, on sort un peu du contexte de Whoopi, mais on m'appelle toujours Whoopi aussi, parce que malgré tout, je suis un garçon. Et puis, bon, je me comporte en femme.
Je sais que je suis né petit garçon. Et puis, pourquoi aimer ce que les femmes aiment?
And at 10, the pharmacist, mixing her own kind of potent brew. But why would a clever pharmacist bother with a jerk like this? An indulgent foray into unscrupulous greed.
Das ist Hella. Hella ist Apotheker.
And getting much more than she bargained for. And that's what you'll get Friday night on SBS. Saturday, discover the lost city of Cahokia.
The way I think of Cahokia is as the Big Apple, the greatest show on earth.
Larger than medieval London or Rome, and buried under and around St. Louis.
Never heard of it. It's interesting. I'd like to know more about it.
One of the reasons that Cahokia probably became Cahokia is because it was a great place to go to party with a very large crowd, a very in crowd.
This would be the Vatican, the White House, and Buckingham Palace all put together.
So much of American Indian history, if you will, was here before the Europeans came.
Cahokia, America's lost metropolis. 7:30 Saturday. Sunday on the Greeks, two great empires do battle at Marathon.
He ran 140 miles in just 2 days. But Phidippides's quest would end in failure.
There is a huge cultural difference between the Greeks and the Persians.
Soctlians had to cover their mouths in his presence, just to avoid tainting the air he breathed. Here, any Athenian could stand before his fellow citizens and try to convince them to follow his leadership.
It's a struggle between freedom and slavery.
Themistocles would now show himself to be one of history's greatest leaders.
Whatever you want to say about democracy, it fields the most patriotic, enthusiastic, and often large armies.
The world's first democracy had survived its first great test.
Then came the Battle of Salamis.
The Persian fleet had been lured so far up the straits that it had no room to maneuver. Powerful Greek triremes bore down on them without mercy.
The Greeks, Episode 2, 8:30 Sunday. Can you see any glamorous stars? Powerful politicians? Spiritual leaders, perhaps?
What's your name? Michael Jackson.
After half an hour of Front Up, you'll discover how the famous and the powerful will just fade into insignificance. Don't miss it. Front Up, 7:30 Tuesday.
Hi, Andrew.
Welcome back. We return to the Stinadlech Stadium in Teplice for the second half in a few minutes. The halftime score is Czech Republic 1, Australia 0. Don't forget to catch On the Ball at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday when we reflect on today's game with veteran former Socceroo Robbie Slater. Will be in the studio. Johnny Warren and Andy Harper back with us. Let's have some impressions on the first half. I thought it was quite a thrilling first half, actually. John, a lot of pace on, and Australia very much in the game.
Type of game that we need, Les. A quality opponent. We mentioned before the game, the Czechs very seldom put in a half-hearted. They've always been good value. Not surprisingly, a shaky start with so many new players at the back, but settled and still in the match.
Andy?
Yeah, very much so. The Australians, towards the second half of that half, looked very impressive indeed. I'd be very heartened if I was Frank Farina. And I think significantly, Australia settled, the more settled approach from Australia coincided with Paul Ocon, who for the first 20 minutes was struggling to find his range, but from about 20 minutes on was really starting to anchor things and spread the ball around nicely. And just goes to underpin the significance of him in the whole lineup.
Sure, he's been a busy boy. Let's roll some highlights, Andy and John, from the first half. Lots of incidents.
Well, Callat's brought into action very early, wasn't he? An excellent save. And then we had, after that, the goal, which shouldn't have been the goal. It shouldn't have been a goal because the ball is placed here. It is now. Sorry, next one. The corner kick, the ball is placed outside of the area. We'll comment on that as it happened. And it happened on about 6 occasions. There's the ball is outside the area. The assistant referee should pull that up. But that's picking at straws a little bit, isn't it? I mean, we were caught out at the back. There wasn't a good challenge in. It's a great leap and a great header.
And they do have an immense aerial presence, the Czechs, really. It should be noted, shouldn't it? And apart from Jan Koller, who stands in the high 6-foot range, you've got Milan Fukol, who scored the goal there, and he was prominent in the chance before that Kalac saved at full stretch. And one thing about the setup in the last few games that we've seen against Brazil, Australia, a little vulnerable from set pieces. They have conceded a couple of goals from corners and free kicks, so that would concern Frank. But just on Jan Koller, I think Sean Murphy, in general terms, has been doing an outstanding job on a gentleman who's got at least 6 inches on him in height, and he's been defending really well. So that, again, that would be heartening Frank. The only problems I see in defence in general play is when we give the ball away and the Czechs catch us on the break, and when our defence is not set, we are having a few problems. Defending well when we're set, but when not set in total formation, we're having a few problems.
Well, that's the problem of not playing with a libero, isn't it? But you do get, you've lost that insurance playing just the two at the back in the middle. If you've got that extra security of the libero, and that is one of the downsides of playing the way that we're playing, the system we're playing.
This was one of those incidents when we lost the ball, and the Czechs, given their quality of the type of side, and when you get into these types of quality opponents, they only take a couple of opportunities to break you down and punish you, and we have looked stretched on the occasions when we've given the ball away unnecessarily. There'll be another highlight coming up in a moment where...
What a great header that was from Nico.
He's having a great game, quality player.
Yeah, it's not just a half header just to get it in there. He's really picked it out, seen the run before the ball's come to him. This is the Viduka, the touch of class, isn't it? This is absolutely brilliant.
Classiest move of the night.
Finishing's always been Mark's problem, hasn't it? What a fantastic piece of football.
Been isolated a bit up front, haven't they? They really haven't had to service a very quietish game for Agostino so far, and I think you could look down to the lack of width of Stan hasn't been really successful on the left in getting forward, and nothing's getting forward on the right. Dvorsky.
So here again the defence is at 6s and 7s, and I suppose the question is, Andy, if that defence can settle, get a bit more used to each other, because they haven't played together in that combination before, it might be a bit more safe in the second half.
Yeah, look, as I say, the problem's been when we've been going forward and lost the ball, and we've lost a bit of shape then, and that is something that would concern Frank. It's something to which he'll have to draw his players' attention to. But generally, I think they're up against some very difficult opponents, as we've said. The physical presence of Koller is significant, and they're dealing with that creditably. And Sean Murphy, we've already mentioned in those terms, is doing a great job, and Popovic as well is making himself, his presence felt at the back there. So I think the Czechs would be the ones going into a major tournament like the Euro 2000 who'd be a little bit worried about the way things are going at the moment.
Sure, thanks Andy. Let's take a short break. When we come back, it'll be the second half of the Czech Republic versus Australia.
Saturday night. Enter the warped but wonderful world of Gary Larson. Adventure to the far side.
The stars at night are big and bright.
His comic strips come to life for 2 Saturday nights only. Gary Larson's Tales from the Far Side, 9:05, Saturday. Ralph Fiennes stars in the film of Graham Greene's The End of the Affair, directed by Neil Jordan.
The centre of it is an erotic relationship, and that's what I wanted to get into the movie.
There were nights when I wished those sirens would never end.
A story based on Graham Greene's passionate 13-year relationship with Catherine Walston.
He wouldn't recognize us. There was a great physical union, which you hadn't had with other people.
The letters do mention sex an awful lot. They mention bare earth floors.
He's jealous of the past and the present and the future.
I'm jealous of everything that moves. I'm jealous of the rain.
How can you be jealous of the rain?
He's just not trusting, maybe not even
really confidently loving.
The beginning of the end of the affair, 9:30 Sunday. On Tuesday, Anthony Quinn and Dominique Sander in the story of a family divided.
Questa è la parte tua e con questa è chiuso. La vuoi? Ruba, creva. Non sei più figlio mio.
And a woman who plans to reunite them.
È finita la custodia. Ci avete lo stesso sangue.
At least as a means to an end.
Perché io con te vicino mi sento sicuro.
Trading in the currency of betrayal.
Sente in colpa e vorrebbe tanto vedere.
With her eyes on the prize.
Io non ti porrò nessun ostacolo a quello che vuoi fare. E se mi dai retta, so come farti diventare una donna ricca e rispettabile.
Treading a tightrope.
Sarei la rovina mia se non saprò fare a meno di te.
With 4 lives in the balance. The Inheritance, 10 o'clock Tuesday on SBS. He's an unlikely hero who picks pockets for a living, a trade that's well and truly out of favor.
这里知道什么叫严党？
不有荷兰呢？
你不让高兴啊？我好想去来吃场的。顾美美，
美美，这看什么啊？
你开歌厅，我翻页。我笨。
A no-budget film using non-professional actors that still manages to tell the story of a lost generation in China today. Xiao Wu, 10 o'clock Wednesday on SBS.
Welcome back. We're a couple of minutes away from the second half in Teplice. Let's have a look at some options. We haven't spoken about possible changes, John. I don't think there will be any at this stage, but it's a skinny squad, just 16 players. Johnson, Foster, Casserly and Zane are the outfield players on the bench.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there'd be a change up front. I think if there was to be a change, it would be on the right side of midfield where Stevie Corica maybe. It just doesn't suit Steve to me to be playing on the right-hand side of the field for some...
Yeah, there's some problem there because is that why Mark Viduka is always forced out wide to the right for some reason?
Could be, and there's getting no support there at all. Now maybe the solution is Foster, who Frank has used quite often, coming on as the sub as he did against Hungary, or maybe even Luke Casserly.
What are your thoughts, Andy?
It wouldn't be a Johnson playing in that role, would it? So it would be a Johnson replacing coming on.
Not as a flank man, no.
I'm not so fussed about the personnel, more so that we try and get a bit more space in as we go forward and try and get a bit more distance in between the Czech defenders. I think it's all very cluttered and it makes it very difficult for anyone to get through. Mark Viduka we saw on that dribble down the right-hand side, but even when he's receiving the ball, there's 3 and 4 people around him, and while Steve Corica mightn't be an out-and-out winger, if he's playing in that right midfield position, and the same on the left with Stan, we need them to be stretched a bit more to pull the Czech defenders apart. It's a little too congested. I think Craig Foster has done the job before. I can't imagine too many changes, except perhaps with Mark Viduka, not because he's not playing well, but there is a bit of news about his hamstring strain, and he might succumb to that, although he didn't look terribly encumbered by it in the first half. But it'll be interesting. He hasn't got a lot of options up his sleeve, Frank, so he's going to have to juggle things and be very careful with what he does.
Stan's just trying to do a little bit too much to him, Stan Lazaridis. And it's interesting, isn't it? He's playing now in that more forward role than he's used to, and the dribbling's not as successful. There's not the amount of room that he gets in the sort of the left fullback role, if you like. But Stan perhaps just trying to do a little bit too much.
What about the more negative measure of looking after Nedved, who's having a very dominant game? I mean, is that an option to bring somebody like Johnson on to
it's a possibility,
bit of an enforcer?
Possibility.
I think what the Czechs have resorted to more often than not has been lobbing balls in for Kohler and picking up the crumbs. They have broken on a couple of occasions with and look dangerous doing so, but their general pattern of play, well, and credit to Frank's boys, they haven't really allowed the Czechs to settle into consistent patterns of football. And so I don't think he'll be necessarily trying to target any particular individual, although of course whoever's around Nedved has to be very wary.
Sure. 1-0 down, the Australians. Let's go back to Paul Williams.
Welcome back to the start of the second half here. This is Frank Farina's 5th full international in charge of the Australian side. He's had a win, 2 draws and a defeat so far. So with a 1-0 scoreline, there's still plenty of time for Australia to recover in this particular game. He did spend some time in Glasgow and in Leeds on the weekend, meeting with the Scottish contingent, Craig Moore and Tony Vidmar and Mark Viduka, as we take a look at the only goal of the game so far by Milan Futsal in the 10th minute. Also travelled down to Leeds after Glasgow to meet with Harry Kewell. It was Frank Farina himself who made the decision that Kewell would not be part of today's game. He felt that Kewell, having played European matches every Wednesday and Premier League games every Sunday for the last 3 or 4 weeks, had played too much football and was prepared to rest him. Going back to the goal scorer, Futsal. No sign of any changes in the Australian contingent. Poborski. It's a nice play for him. Coming across very quickly was Tony Popovic. He's in brilliant form, by the way, in Japan for Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Popovic scored the only goal of the game for his club on the weekend. It was a penalty. They beat Frontal by 1-0. Certainly for Sanfrecce, he has a pretty free role from Eddie Thompson. He's very much the libero who brings the ball into the midfield in Japan. You see a little bit more of that in the second half of Australia. Are still trailing, maybe 20 to 30 minutes into this second half here, and the ball is into Agostino, turning well. Great turn by Agostino, and a great challenge as well, cleanly taking the ball as Agostino was turning and really about to unleash a shot. It's the first time we've really seen Paul Agostino in this game, but he did well to hold off his man. Just got a touch on the ball there. Some good defending by the substitute Petr Vulcek. Poborski. Nemets fouled by Ocon. Yuri Nemets is the real veteran of the Czech Republic side. He's 33 years of age now. He will retire after Euro 2000. Up on his feet now. Made his debut back in 1990. Certainly the response of the Australian side to that goal in the second half of the first half was very pleasing to Frank Farina, I'm sure. Certainly the players do still look, well, perhaps just a little disorganised just occasionally in defence. They look very confident, it does have to be said. Graham Arnold made the comment on SBS television just recently about the arrogance of the Australian team after they beat Hungary. Not only the Socceroos are ranked 84th in the world, the Czech Republic ranked 2nd. Certainly the Socceroo team don't rank themselves at 84th. Lazaridis fires in a cross. First time he's done that in today's game. Muscat forward now. Ocon, Muscat, nice play. Here's Corica. Forced to go back. Pressure on the ball on him, and Popovic with a loose pass. Australia getting away with it. Van Vleuk, Skoko, Van Vleuk again. This is promising a game by the Socceroos. Oh, Nedved, brilliant touch on to Poborski. Ocon takes over again for Australia. And Muscatson very quickly helping it on to Viduka into the area. Still Mark Viduka. Players waiting in the centre. Across was aimed for Agostino, who threw himself at the ball at the near post, and only good defending by Foucault stopped him getting to the ball. Viduka very much at the heart of the best Australian attacks again, playing the ball across. It's a corner to Australia. A single arm goes up from Lazaridis. Plenty happening off the ball in the centre as the corner comes in. Credit to the goalkeeper. Skoko takes the shot! Oh, Josip Skoko scored his first goal for Australia against Hungary, and that looked for all money to be a second until an arm came up from Jaromir Blasek. Well, a good punch from the goalkeeper. Viduka clattered into him. Skoko didn't have too much time to bring it down. Don't quite see the shot there. But it was a fine volley, and the goalkeeper did well to save it. Signs that Josip Hovnets is about to make a change. Perhaps as a result of the good start to this second half by Australia. Skoko again. Well, this is the danger now for Australia on the counter-attack, and the Czech Republic come forward. The advantage played. Perhaps the referee will go back to that challenge. But Poborski switching play. It's a great break this by the Czech Republic. Australia stretched, a good cross, and a very good goal indeed by Jan Koller. And a lesson there for Australia about the guile of European teams. Jan Koller makes it 12 goals from 12 games. It was Poborski's switch that really threw Australia into disarray at the back. They were shuffling across, never really looked settled, the back four, after they were forced to scuttle back. A great cross, and Koller in the middle, towering above Murphy. And that's a fine goal by the Czech Republic, and they lead by 2 goals to 0. The cross came from Martin Czichek. Let's give him some credit as well. Czichek went outside Muscat. A very good cross indeed, although there were some Australian defenders in the centre. Koller just had too much height for them. Well, let's see what sort of response we get from Australia now. Farina did say to me before the game that he's come here to win the match. Wasn't prepared to be cautious, despite the fact it was a team that was maybe 5 or 6 players short of his top team. If they are going to win the match, they'll certainly have to make some changes in personnel, or at the very least tactics. Get some more players forward. Skoko perhaps the man to lead the charge as Australia go forward. Viduka's chasing. Well, Jaromir Blasek has made a very fine international debut for the Czech Republic in goal. He's in brilliant form for his club, Sparta Prague. Only given an opportunity here today because of an injury to the #1 goalkeeper, Pavel Sremacek. Poborski. Well, a couple of changes possibly for Josip Hovnets. Just on 10 minutes into the second half of the game. Ocon touching it on. Corica wriggling away from his man, just keeping the ball in. And now the changes will be made. And it's the number 14, Ivo Ulic, and the number 12, Vratislav Lokvens, who will be coming on for the Czech Republic. Craig Foster waiting in the wings for Australia. Foster came on as a substitute for Steve Corica in the match against Hungary on the right-hand side of midfield, and played a very good 25-minute period as well. Steve Corica again the man to make way. He's always a player that rises to any occasion, Craig Foster. See how quickly he can settle into the game. Well, an early touch for him, that's a good start. Ocon.
The player of Australia, number 14, Steve Corica.
Popovic.
Of Australia.
Skoko this time going short. Helped on by Lazaridis. Skoko again involved. Foster getting another touch. Just bundled off the ball. It's a free kick to the Socceroos. Ocon wants to get on with the game quickly, understandably. Still those two Czech Republic substitutes are waiting to come on. Meanwhile, Craig Foster stole a march on them at least and came on before them. Foster outside Ocon, who steals the ball. Here's Lazaridis. Work. Agostino just cutting inside. Inching closer to the sideline. Not quite sure what the problem is there, why there is a hold-up for Lokvens and Ulic. Perhaps the players coming off was the issue for Ovanets. Well, he's made up his mind now, and a little bit surprisingly perhaps, it's the number 6, Martin Cicek. He's a teammate of Paul Agostino and Ned Zelic at 1860 Munich. Set up the goal for Jan Kohler just a few moments ago. He's one player to make way. The other one is the Czech Republic number 10, Pavel Verbier. Well, the number 12, Vratislav Lokvens, is another veritable giant. Certainly Australia have a fairly large team physically. They're well and truly outshadowed by the Czech Republic, and Viduka was looking for a free kick there. And once again, Murphy clattering into Kohler. Sean Murphy's been playing in the English Division 1 for close on 8 or 9 years now, so he will be very tough indeed. It's getting tougher for Australia. Another good cross, this one cut out by Popovic. It's a corner. Kalat's vocal as ever. A good beginning to the game by Ivo Ulic, playing just his 7th international. Played against Leeds and Harry Kewell recently in the UEFA Cup. He plays for Slavia Prague. Leeds dumped them out of the UEFA Cup and moved on to the semi-finals. There's Medved with one of those corners again. Kalat comes. Punches to Poborski. Still Poborski. play by Kevin Muscat at the near post for Australia then. Zaridis fouled by Poborski.
For the minute, the yellow card for the player of Czech Republic, number 8, Karel Poborski.
Ocon calm on the ball, but pushed off the ball that time by the substitute. That's Vratislav Lokvets. And Ocon in some trouble there. It looks like his arm or his shoulder perhaps. And that would be a blow for Australia if he were to go off. Holding his right arm. Let's just see what happened here as he fell down. Well, he immediately turned and looked at his shoulder. The stretcher is on for the Australian captain, Paul Ocon. He's a player that has had his fair share of injuries in the past, mainly knee problems for the Fiorentina midfielder. The blanket's out as well, so that is not a good sign. The likely replacement for him would be Richard Johnson, play in the centre of midfield. Also on the bench, Clayton Zane and Luke Casserly. The referee is saying, well, even if he can continue, at least take him off for now. He can walk okay. Well, maybe he's okay. Certainly the captain's armband looks good on Paul Ocon. He likes the way it feels as well. Took to that task with real vigour in his first game as captain for Australia against Brazil back in November. So Australia a man down just for the moment. It's a long ball. That's will gather it easily. Viduka chasing, using his body well in the area. Still Viduka. And we're ready to go, surrounded by players. Skoko touching it on. Good idea from Josip Skoko. Australia must chase a goal at least. And of course, the very danger in doing that is that they'll be caught out like they were for the Czech Republic's second goal. Ocon's back in action. That's good. Foster touching it on. Agostino. Foster, great cross. Or just a little bit close to the goalkeeper. But certainly one of few balls played into the Czech Republic penalty area from the flanks by Australia tonight, and it came from Craig Foster. He's looked solid, hasn't he, the 27-year-old debutant, Vladimir Blasek. Now look at this, Lokvets. Back to Kalats by Van Bleur. Ocon certainly back in the fold and wanting to get back in the game as well. Skoko gets past one, helps it on down the line. Foster won't get there. Real pressure coming in from the Socceroos. It's paid off. They've got possession with a throw-in on about the halfway line. To open up the game, and that's a good ball. Agostino going through the centre. Paul Agostino. Well, the shooting opportunity was certainly there for Paul Agostino. It wasn't taken, and the man who's had a very good game tonight in Milan Foucault came across just in the nick of time. It's a corner to Australia. Lazaridis to take it. Good spell of the game again for the Socceroos. The goalkeeper comes. And a very good throw from him as well as Van Blurk comes over. He's missed the tackle. Foster's tracking back and just wins the ball. And you see the danger of the Czech Republic on the counter thrust. Feeling that there is a goal somewhere within the Australian team. Oh, look at this, given to Viduka. He's on at a tight angle, very awkward for him really. He had to take the shot. No hesitancy in firing on goal for Martin Viduka at the moment. Kohler's got round Popovic. Danger here for Australia. Brilliant little back heel. Kohler again. That is a great goal. Well, at one end, Viduka fires in a shot. And within a matter of seconds, the ball is nestling in the back of the Australian net. Well, Kohler squeezed past Tony Popovic there. A great little back heel from Poborski to Kohler. And a simple tap-in indeed. An absolute gift for the Czech Republic, and that's 3-0. Look at the time and space there for the substitute, Ivo Ulic. Well, Poborski's back heel was the party piece within the move, but the work of Jan Kohler was admirable as well. First of all, to get past Popovic, and finally to keep going and just lay it on a plate for Ulic.
Czech Republic, Australia, 3-0.
Still 22 minutes remaining in the game. Poborski looking for more. Popovic there. There's a foul on Tony Popovic by Karol Poborski. And the question now for Frank Farina is, just what does he do for the final 20 minutes or so? Opportunity perhaps to give the likes of Casserly and Zane a taste of the action. Lazaridis. Ocon. Viduka turns away. Quality bit of play from him again, though he does give the ball away. And the Czech Republic once again come out of defence very quickly. Just look at the white shirt streaming forward here. Lokvents lays it off, and the Czech Republic are forced back as Australia funnel back as quickly as they can. Skoko. Ocon, not a lot of room to operate. Viduka makes a difficult ball look easy. Taking them on, Mark Viduka. Australia, some slick work in possession. And foul going against Foster there, just a little bit surprisingly. Craig Foster, a regular contributor on the bench, from the bench rather, for Crystal Palace this year. And a change is about to be made, and Clayton Zane and Luke Castley are about to get a run. Paul Agostino will make way for Zane in attack. Kevin Muscat will make way for Luke Castley in defence. So Clayton Zane, what a moment for him. It's his debut for Australia. He did play against Manchester United twice last year in their tour, but that's not an official international, of course. Playing these days in Norway for one of the biggest clubs there, Molde. So a great moment this for Clayton Zane, called into the squad because of the injury problems. Close vicinity of Raul Blanco's Olympic side made it an easy switch for Zane to come down to Teplice. It's funny how things happen in football. Perhaps even a debut goal for Clayton Zane in the 20 minutes remaining. The Wallaroos were beaten last night by 2-1 by Holland, after losing last week to Slovakia by 1-0. The full Socceroos side not faring much better here, so it's been a good week or so results-wise for Australia's international sides. Zane now putting pressure on the ball. Well, it's been kept in, but it's a corner. Well, and it's a fair question by the defender there, who says, I thought the whole ball had to go over the line. Carol Rada not too happy with that decision. Lazaridis this time with both hands up. Goalkeeper comes, he hasn't got this one. He stayed down as well, but the defence helping him out. Ocon spraying it wide, another measured ball from him, and an early cross is a deep one from Castley. It's gone out and it's a goal kick. Sean Murphy was forward there for Australia. More changes for the Czech Republic team. Karol Poborski, he does really last full 90 minutes of international football these days, and he's being replaced by the well-known right flank player Radek Babel, major contributor over the years in the Czech Republic football team.
The player of Czech Republic, number 8, Karol Poborski, left the field, and the substitute of Czech Republic, number 13, Radek Babel, came in.
Taken just a little bit too quickly there. Lazaridis couldn't get onto the ball. Offence helps it on for the Czech Republic. Australia now really playing for a goal. Something absolutely phenomenal. The match is beyond them. Ocon gives the ball away uncharacteristically. Babel gets a touch. Scocco plays it quickly for Mark Viduka. Next up in the international calendar for Frank Farina and his side, the confirmed tournament of the Oceania Championships, which will be played in Tahiti in late June. Australia go to that tournament hoping to make amends for the defeat by New Zealand 2 years ago. And if there is to be another Confederations Cup, the winner of that particular tournament will be the Oceania representative in that Confederations Cup tournament. That's yet to be confirmed by FIFA. And the Czech Republic make yet another change. It's Rene Wagner, who is a striker who's coming on. The player making way is the 19-year-old Thomas Rosicki, who really started the game strongly, made a very big impression in the opening quarter of an hour, and he's hardly been seen since.
The player of Czech Republic, number 11,
Viduka.
and the substitute of Czech Republic, number 15.
Oh, that's brilliantly read by Ocon. He's still determined to play the game at a good pace, and certainly the entire 75 minutes so far has been played at a very quick rate indeed. Skoko trying to play it to the far post. Babel. Nemitz. Here they come again on the counter. The defence just looking a little bit undermanned. Once again, now they're struggling back, but that's a great tackle. Superb work in defence there. Skoko, who's been busy throughout the entire game trying to find Viduka. At one stage it was looking like they were going to be teammates again for club football this year, Mark Viduka and Josip Skoko, but Skoko, who went to Glasgow even to negotiate a deal, ended up signing for Belgian club Genk. Touched on by Zayn, Lazaridis. Foster. Well, Murphy pretty much on his own at the back now as Popovic is pushing more and more forward at every opportunity. There's Lazaridis. Popovic back alongside Murphy now. Van Blurk. Just over 12 minutes left in the match. That's a long ball and a very good ball to Foster. The surface there made it pretty hard for him to take it on the run. Richard Johnson, the Watford midfielder, about to come into the fray. More room in midfield now as the players start to just get a little bit more tired. Nedved hasn't really been seen in this second half, which is probably a good thing from an Australian perspective. Foucault. Going to stay in somehow. Cassidy. An early ball in is a good one to Clayton Zayn. Lazaridis just couldn't quite get there. Kola, nice layoff. Oh, this is another good move down the right-hand side by the Czech Republic. Great football. It's Ulic. The cross is way too deep. But another free-flowing move that had the crowd on its feet again in anticipation of another good goal. Applause from the coach as well. Jason Van Blurk is a player who's made way for Richard Johnson. It'll be interesting to see what the adjustment is there. Perhaps Lazaridis will just slot back into that left back position. Johnson to play in front of him.
Number 12, Jason Van Blurk. left the field and the substitute of Australia. Number 7, Richard Johnson came in.
Richard Johnson just returning to the Watford midfield after a lengthy layoff with injury. He was out of the game for at least 5 or 6 weeks. This is his full international debut as well. Johnson did play against Brazil in November in Australia. These 2 games were not full internationals either. Underneath that one. That's an intelligent header back by Skoko. Ocon not one to choose the easy options, and there's a good attacking one going forward, and Skoko made the run forward again. Gee, the amount of ground that man covers in a match. Done a fine performance again today, Josip Skoko. Really showed that he was warming to international football in the match against Hungary. Johnson, back to Popovic. Popovic again. And the real options on for Tony Popovic when he got the ball then, and Republic closing down the space and the man very well indeed, but they've given the ball away here, and Skoko tries to play it quickly to Zane. It's a very good tackle by Casserly. Ocon trying to bring Viduka into the game. He's done that. Still Mark Viduka. Shrugs off one. Can't get past the second though, Viduka. Well, he has had to really shoulder a lot of the responsibility by himself tonight in attack, Mark Viduka. Certainly hasn't had any real opportunities on goal, apart from one which he created totally by himself in the first half. Richard Johnson, who's 25 years of age now, he left Newcastle a couple of hours short of Sydney when he was just 16 years of age to go to Spurs for a trial. It didn't work out, and he went along to Watford. They signed him as a 16-year-old, and he's been pretty much forgotten that he's an Australian up until this year when Frank Farina called him up for the series against Brazil. Bulic. Pushed inside by Foucault. Babel. It's a corner for the home side. The home fans have enjoyed this performance tonight, getting back on their winning ways after being defeated by the Republic of Ireland by 3 goals to 2. They're hungry for perhaps even more goals. To just find one, or perhaps even 2 themselves, just to add a bit of respectability to the scoreline. It will really hurt if they concede another one. Oh, but that was a great header. Quite a way off target, I think, at the end. But the leap was very impressive again by that man, Milan Foucault. What a dangerous player he looks from the set piece. All the attention going with Kohler. Now that's asking a few questions again about the marking. Ocon, Skoko. Casserly Dived in just a little bit too eagerly there. Czech Republic forward. Dangerous ball here. Kalatz did well. Well, Ulic, the danger man on the right-hand side in this second half, was just coming in so quickly. Kalatz out to him very quickly as well. The run was from the substitute Rene Wagner. Viduka. Foster. Deep cross. Zane challenging. Still Australia showing that they're prepared to go forward and attack at the appropriate time. They've had the odd moment in attack. Not really of quality though, as the two number 7s tangle there. That's Nemetz and Johnson. Less than 4 minutes remaining here in Teplice. Nemetz. That's a great ball, but the flag's up. Oh, it's got there first anyway, which is a credit to his anticipation. Too much in it. Flag went up straight away by the linesperson. Turns inside, fouled by Lazaridis. They scored both. We actually created both goals for Birmingham City on the weekend. Stan Lazaridis, a 2-1 victory. It's going to get a little bit tougher to get involved tonight though. Touched off. Lazaridis involved again. He has slotted back into that left-back position with the arrival of Richard Johnson in midfield. Skoko involved again. Probably more touches than any other Australian player today, Josip Skoko. Johnson to Viduka. This time only one defender on him for probably the first time in the game. A good cross in, there's a loose ball. There is an Australian goal. And the fans go up, the green and gold. Craig Foster has found something from somewhere for Australia in the dying stages of the game. It's his third international goal. Lazaridis made it with the cross. The goalkeeper with a very uncharacteristic error considering the game he's had here. A real surprise there. He flattened that all of a sudden. He looked a very mediocre goalkeeper after having an outstanding debut. Australia don't mind though, because Craig Foster has found something. The challenge by Clayton Zane just distracting the goalkeeper. Foster with an easy tap in, and all of a sudden the scoreline looks a little bit more respectable for the Socceroos. Skoko. Well, is there time for some more action? About 3 minutes of time added on, according to the fourth official. Australia, I must say, still certainly look full of running. Johnson keeps it in. Viduka. Skoko. Ocon helping it on. Again, does well. Still Foster into the area. When he pulled it back, there was no one really joining in the attack. In fact, it was Casserly going into the boardings. Slightly similar hairstyles. I think Foster's colour in his hair is grey hairs, and I think Casserly's, his wife is a hairdresser. He's more likely to be bleached, I'd say. Viduka turning away. Australia playing out the full 90 minutes here in Teplice. They have not stopped going forward, taking the game to the Czech Republic for the entire match. Zarides gets past his man with real ease. It's not a bad ball either. Foster was just trying to lay the ball back to Mark Viduka and continue on himself. About 60 seconds remaining here. Ocon, Viduka. Fouled. Graham Arnold, the assistant coach. Another measured pass from O'Connor. Casual flick, really. Well, some lessons learned tonight for Australia, taught by a canny European opponent. Twice Australia were felled by a sucker punch in the second half as the speed of the Czech Republic counter-attack was too much for Australia's makeshift defence. There were question marks regarding the depth of the Australian squad. Perhaps Frank Farina has some answers in that regard tonight. The Paul Ocon-Josip Skoko combination in the centre of midfield was certainly the most impressive part of this Australian performance tonight, and they really rallied in the final stages when Craig Foster found a goal for the Socceroos in reply to Kola and Ulich's strikes in the second half for the Czech Republic. So the quest continues. Frank Farina marches on to the next phase, the Oceania Championships, perhaps a couple of friendlies in Australia before then. But for the time being, the final score here in Teplice is Czech Republic 3, Australia 1.
Paul Williams.